isn't just a question of rights for our workers. It is about competitiveness and income security for our families. And the truth is, this is part of a larger health care debate, and that's why we have called it the Healthy Families Act. It is no surprise that we can reduce costs across the board by improving access to appropriate care for chronic illnesses and timely treatment for acute medical needs while reducing the spread of contagious illness. We reintroduced the bill last month. The response is already encouraging. We have almost 110 co-sponsors, Lisa, in the House. And on June 11th, the Education and Labor Subcommittee, that's the committee, the subcommittee that's dealing with worker protections, held the first ever hearing on healthy families. So this tells you that there is momentum, but we need to seize the moment. You know, a few minutes ago, I said to you, it is a new environment with a new president and emboldened Congress. Paycheck Fairness, I introduced the bill 12 years ago. 12 years ago. Paid sick days, more recent in the last several years, but several years since this one is done. Another bill, the Breast Cancer Patient Protection Act, that would allow women who go into a hospital for mastectomy or lumpectomy, that they would receive 48 hours of care in the hospital, going through that kind of traumatic. That is 12 years old as well. And with Paycheck Fairness, with the Breast Cancer Patient Protection Bill, the very first hearings in 12 years were last year. And this year. That is what it means to hold the majority in the House of Representatives. That's what it means. This is not just a numbers game. It is about the power to pass legislation that can help to change people's lives. For too long, the federal government has been missing in action when it comes to worker protections, women's education, and pay equity. But no more. You know, after all, we finally have an administration again in the Congress that isn't going to try to undermine Title IX at every step. Yeah. You know, I think about Title IX, I think about you, and I think about Patsy Mink, a great lady, and I had the honor of serving with Patsy Mink. But Title IX was a major advance, not just for women, but for all Americans and for higher education. Sometimes that gets lost in the translation with regard to sports, but the issue of women and higher education, so critical what was done with Title IX. And when our government and its leaders work to ensure its continued success, they are making a commitment to the success of our students and the competitive future of our nation. That's what I mean when I talk about new opportunities. For me, serving in the Congress is a great privilege. It's a great privilege. I'm blessed. It's an awesome responsibility as well. I don't know of a better job. I'm sure all of you out there think that you have the best job. But I have the best job. As my colleagues can testify over and over again, and Lisa's heard me say this, the institution doesn't always do what you want it to do. Some days it does exactly the opposite of what you would like it to do. But the fact is that it's about what the institution can do. It's about its potential. We know if we don't seize this moment, we don't know when it's going to come along again. So we have to take advantage of it. And I know that we can together with this new administration and a new environment in Washington, and with your tireless work, with a new vision for America, that these kinds of efforts for women and for their families are within reach. The reason that the job exceeds my expectations is, as I was saying, because of the institution's potential. It has the power and the ability to change people's lives. That is its legacy, historically. Civil rights legislation, Social Security, Medicare, a GI Bill, the possibility for the sons and daughters of middle-class families to be able to get an education, to be able to succeed, to realize their dreams. That's what this institution is capable of doing. We can do that again this year. We can do it. Working together on the issues that we've talked about equity for girls, for women, in their pay and in their education. And we want to say to them, get an education, be you. The world is your oyster, except we're not going to pay you what we pay men in the same set of circumstances. We can turn that around, but we can only do that when we work together to make this institution realize its potential. We need to make it do it. It won't do it on its own. And that's what your conference is about, breaking barriers. Not something that any one person can do alone. We all have a role. We all must participate. Your voice, your heartfelt advocacy, not only in your own community, but as a catalyst to build a movement and to make things happen in Washington, D.C. You know, when I talk to my colleagues and I tell them, we need to act today, we need to do this, we need to do that, that's one thing. You know, they say, that's that DeLauro again. You know, but it's something else. It's something else altogether when you talk to them. Nothing more powerful than when an elected representative hears directly from the people he or she represents. Suddenly the issue takes on a whole new sense of importance. They're not fools. Nothing focuses your mind like a death sentence. If it's important to you, and you call and you shut down the switchboard over a particular issue, they'll take notice. They'll take notice. They'll know how important the issue is. That's what you have to do when they see an actual movement rising from the ground up in their own district among their voters. You ignore it at your peril. You ignore it don't forget that. We run for office every 2 years. It's not like the Senate every 6 years. It's every 2 years. You don't like what they do? Find somebody else who's going to carry out your agenda. Let me, do not underestimate the power of big ideas. This time has come. I look around here today and I know, look, this crowd here, you've come from far and wide and your presence speaks volumes here. And looking around, I know we can do it. We can break old barriers. We can build new partnerships. We can continue to fight together for what is right, the right thing to do. And while so much has changed in the last few months, some of our greatest challenges remain the same. Again, this is our window of opportunity. And as Lisa knows and others know, that window doesn't stay open long in Washington, D.C. We have that opportunity to act for women and their families, to make education accessible and equity a reality. I'm going to close here, if you'll bear with me, with a quote from my mother. My mom is 95 years old. She is the longest-serving member of something called the Board of Aldermen. It's the city council in the city of New Haven, Connecticut. And when she only retired in her mid-80s, and not too long ago, she said to me, and this is true, she says, you know, I should never have given up the job.